Chike, this is not life oh. Every day, we beg people to give us small work. Meanwhile, boys our age are in the city, making money and sending things home. Look at us. We're still here, counting pieces of bread. Chike adjusted the hole on his shoulder. Ibuka, life in the city is not the paradise you think it is. Many who leave never return. Some ends up worse than before. At least here, we have our land, small as it is. It is something to hold on to. I don't want small, Ibuka shouted, dropping the bread wrapper. I want big. I want to wear good clothes, drive cars, and live in a big house. I cannot remain poor in Okrima. I don't look like someone who was born to suffer. The morning sun rose slowly over Okrima village, casting a golden light on the rows of houses that lined the main dusty road. Most of the houses were built with cement blocks, painted long ago but now faded. Some had cracks, some had rusted zinc roofs, but they still stood strong. In one of these modest homes lived two brothers, Chike and Ibuka. The house was small, with 2 rooms, a sitting area, and a tiny kitchen at the back. It wasn't fancy, but it was all they had left after their parents passed away. Chike, the elder brother, was in his early 20s. He had broad shoulders, dark skin that glistened with sweat from constant labor, and eyes that carried responsibility far beyond his age. Ibuka, the younger one, was 17, restless, sharp, and full of dreams bigger than the village. Their father had been a farmer who worked hard but died after a sudden illness during the rainy season. Their mother, a trader in Okrima market, followed a year after, battling another sickness. All that remained of their parents' hard work was a small piece of farmland outside the village. It was dry, difficult to cultivate, but it was the only thing the brothers could call their inheritance. Chike, Ibuka's voice rang out from the kitchen. Chike stepped out of the small room, tying his belt around his faded trousers. What is it? There is no garri left, Ibuka said, holding up a nearly empty plastic container. I managed to find bread. That is what I'm eating this morning. But how long will we keep living like this? Chike looked at the container and sighed. Don't worry, I'll find something today. Maybe Chief Okonta still needs men to clear grass on his land. If he agrees, he can pay us with food or a little money. Ibuka frowned, biting into the dry bread. Always menial jobs, always struggling. Chike, this is not life oh. Every day, we beg people to give us small work. Meanwhile, boys our age are in the city, making money and sending things home. Look at us. We're still here, counting pieces of bread. Chike adjusted the hole on his shoulder. Ibuka, life in the city is not the paradise you think it is. Many who leave never return. Some ends up worse than before. At least here, we have our land, small as it is. It is something to hold on to. I don't want small, Ibuka shouted, dropping the bread wrapper. I want big. I want to wear good clothes, drive cars, and live in a big house. I cannot remain poor in Okrima. I don't look like someone who was born to suffer. Chike stared at him quietly. His brother's words pierced him, but he understood. Dreams could be heavy, especially for the young. Later that day, Chike went to Chief Okonta's compound with other young men to weed grass. The compound was large, with a tall gate and a wide cement veranda, the kind of house people in the village admired. Chike walked until blisters formed on his palms, bending, cutting, clearing weeds under the hot sun. At the end of the day, Chief gave him a basket of maize and a little money. When he returned home, he saw Ibuka sitting outside their house, staring at the road that led toward the city. You are back, Ibuka said without turning his head. Yes, Chike replied, setting the maize down. We will roast some tonight. Tomorrow, I will take some to the market and sell the rest for soap and kerosene. Ibuka finally looked at him, his eyes burning with frustration. Do you know Uche, Mama Okafor's son? He left for Okrima City last year. He came back yesterday, wearing fine shoes and carrying a big phone. The whole village gathered around him. His mother danced as if she had won a lottery. That is the kind of life I want, Chike. Chike wiped sweat from his face. Do you know what he went through before he bought that phone? Do you know how many nights he slept hungry? Don't let appearances deceive you, Ibuka. The city is not for everyone. But it can be for me, Ibuka insisted. Brother, farming won't take us anywhere. You're wasting your youth on land that gives little. Support me. Let me go. Once I succeed, I will come back for you. I promise. Chike's chest tightened. His brother's hope was real, but the risks were greater. The next morning, Chike carried maize to the market. As he walked through the busy stalls, he overheard two women whispering, That boy Chike is wasting time, one said. He's suffering with maize, while his brother dreams of the city. If he had sense, he would allow the younger one to go. Maybe the boy can make money and change their life. The other woman nodded. Yes, Ibuka has sharp eyes. He might succeed if he tries. Chike is too slow. Chike's steps grew heavy, but he said nothing. At the market, he met Mama Ngozi, a kind widow. She looked at him closely as she bought maize. Chike, my son, you are too young to look this tired, she said. Why don't you let Ibuka go to the city? He's still young. Maybe he can learn a trade. You are strong. You can manage the farm. Chike forced a smile. I hear, Mama. But inside, the words tore at him. Everywhere he turned, people said the same thing. Send Ibuka away, let him try. That night, Ibuka couldn't sleep. He tossed, turned, then sat up. Chike, he whispered. Chike groaned, half asleep. What is it? I had a dream, Ibuka said eagerly. I was in Okrima City, wearing a suit. People were clapping for me. I entered a big car with tinted glass. It felt real, like God was showing me my future. Maybe this is a sign. Chike rolled onto his back and looked at him. Dreams are good, Ibuka, but dreams need reality. If you go, where will you stay? Who will feed you? Who will give you work? That's why I need you, Ibuka replied quickly. We can sell part of the land. Use the money to send me off. Once I make it, I will buy us bigger land. Maybe even a house in the city. Don't you believe in me? Chike's heart pounded. The land, the only inheritance from their parents. Could he risk all on Ibuka's ambition? Days passed. Ibuka refused to drop the matter. One evening, Chike sat outside their house under the moonlight, staring at the farmland in the distance. He remembered his father's words. This land is our life. Guard it. It will feed you when I am gone. But Ibuka's voice echoed too. Sell part of it. Believe in me, brother. Ibuka came out and sat beside him. Brother, why are you quiet? I'm thinking, Chike replied softly. Thinking about what? About us, about this land, about our future. If I sell it, we may never get it back. But if I don't, you will say I killed your dream. Ibuka placed a hand on his shoulder. Chike, I swear, if you help me now, I will never forget you. I will make you proud. Chike looked into his brother's eyes. He saw burning fire there, ambition, desperation, hunger for more. And in that moment, Chike knew the time to decide had come. The air in Okrima village carried a heavy silence that week. It was as if even the trees, the birds, and the wind knew that a great decision was hanging over the small cement house where Chike and Ibuka lived. Chike, had hardly slept in days. Every night, he sat outside on the wooden bench in front of their house, staring at the farmland in the distance. That land was his father's sweat, his mother's pride, and his own last hope. But now, it was the only coin he could offer to buy his brother's dream. Ibuka, on the other hand, was restless with excitement. He had already begun to picture himself in Okrima City, working, hustling, shining, and returning home like a king. He spoke of it every chance he got. His eyes always lit with fire. One evening, Chike called Ibuka to sit with him outside. The moon was bright and the quiet hum of crickets filled the air. Ibuka, Chike began slowly. I have thought long and hard about your request. Ibuka leaned forward eagerly, and Chike's voice was heavy. I will sell part of the land. Ibuka's eyes widened. You mean it? You will really do it? Yes, Chike said with a sigh. If this is what it takes for you to chase your dream, then so be it. I cannot stand in your way. Our parents worked hard for us. If I can use what they left behind to give you a chance, I will. Tears filled Ibuka's eyes, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of triumph. Thank you, Chike. You will not regret this. I swear on my life. I will go to the city. I will succeed. And I will come back for you. You will not suffer again. Chike forced a smile, though his heart felt like a stone. I trust you, my brother. Just remember, no matter how far you go, this village is your root. Ibuka nodded. Yes, I know. I will never forget. But even as he spoke, his heart was already flying beyond the village roads, racing toward the shining light of the city. The next morning, Chike walked to the farmland with the village head, Elder Ikenna, and two men who had shown interest in buying a portion of it. The men inspected the soil, walked the boundaries, and whispered among themselves. Finally, one of them said, the land is not much, but it will do. We can pay 600,000 naira. Chike's heart sank. 600,000 for the sweat of his father, the only inheritance left. But he knew bargaining would not change much. He needed the money fast. Agreed, Chike said quietly. The men counted the money in front of him. The notes were old and rough, but they felt heavier than anything he had ever held. As they handed it to him, Elder Ikenna placed a hand on Chike's shoulder. My son, this is not a small thing you have done. May God guide you. Use it wisely. Chike nodded, his throat tight. He folded the money carefully and walked home, feeling as though he had just buried a part of his parents. When Ibuka saw the money, his face lit up, brighter than the sun. Chike, this is it. This is the beginning of our new life. Chike forced a smile. Yes, Ibuka, our new life. The next days were filled with preparation. Chike bought a small traveling bag for Ibuka, 2 shirts, a pair of trousers, cheap or new shoes, and some foodstuffs for the road. He also gave him some cash to hold on to when he reached the city. On the night before departure, the two brothers sat together inside their small house. A lantern flickered between them. Ibuka, Chike said softly, the city is not easy. You will meet good people and bad people. Some will try to help you, others will try to destroy you. Hold on to your values. Do not forget home. Ibuka grinned. You worry too much, brother. I know myself. I will make you proud. Chike's eyes glistened. I'm not worried because I do not trust you. I'm worried because I love you. For the first time, Ibuka felt a lump in his throat. He reached across the table and held Chike's hand. Thank you for believing in me. I promise I will not fail. The morning of the journey arrived. The village square buzzed as neighbors gathered to watch. For many, sending someone to the city was like sending a soldier to war. You prayed for their success, but feared for their survival. Chike carried the bag, while Ibuka strutted ahead, already walking with the pride of a man who believed his destiny was changing. At the motor park, buses lined up, their conductors shouting destinations. The smell of petrol and roasted plantain filled the air. Drivers honked impatiently as passengers rushed to secure seats. Chike paid for Ibuka's fare and handed him the ticket. "Remember," Chike said, his voice firm but shaky, "call me as soon as you arrive. Do not waste this money. Do not trust strangers too quickly. And most of all, do not forget why you went to succeed and to come back for us." Ibuka hugged him tightly. "I will not forget. I will make you proud, brother. This is the last time you will see me as a poor boy. Next time, I will return as a man." Tears filled Chike's eyes as he watched Ibuka climb into the bus. The engine roared to life. Dust rose as the bus pulled out of the park. Chike stood there long after he disappeared, his chest heavy with fear, pride, and hope, all mixed into one. The journey was long and tiring, but when Ibuka finally reached Okrema City, his eyes widened in wonder. The tall buildings, the endless traffic, the noise of horns and voices. It was everything he had imagined and more. He stayed with a distant cousin, Emeka, who had promised to help him find his feet. The house was small, a one-room apartment crowded with other young men chasing dreams, but to Ibuka, it was paradise compared to the village. That evening, Emeka introduced him to some friends at a roadside bar. They laughed, drank, and teased Ibuka about his village accent. "You said you come from Okrima village?" one of them, a tall young man with dreadlocks, asked. "Yes," Ibuka replied proudly, "but not for long. I will make it here. My brother even sold part of our land to send me. I cannot fail." The group burst into laughter. "Your brother sold the land for you?" another said, shaking his head. "Then forget the village, my guy. The city is where life is. If you go back, you're a fool. Use this chance for yourself." Ibuka laughed nervously. "Forget the village? How can I forget my brother?" The tall one with dreadlocks leaned closer, his eyes sharp. "Listen, my guy, the village is poverty. The city is money. If you want to succeed, you must cut yourself from the village life. Forget the farm. Forget the promises. Build yourself first." The words sank deep into Ibuka's heart. He laughed along with them. But as the night grew darker, those words refused to leave his mind. Forget the village. The noise of Okrima City never slept. Day and night, buses honked, traders shouted prices, and music blared from roadside shops. For Ibuka, who had only known the quiet life of the village, the city felt like another world. At first, it was overwhelming. The traffic, the crowds, the expenses, but deep inside, he believed this was where his destiny would be written. Ibuka's cousin Emeka welcomed him into his small one-room apartment, but the room was already crowded with 3 other young men. At night, Ibuka spread a thin mat on the floor, his bag as his pillow. Mosquitoes buzzed in the humid air, and sometimes he stayed awake listening to the loud music from the next compound. "City life no easy o," Emeka said one night, shaking his head as he lay on his own mat. "But if you get patience, you go make am." "I don't want patience," Emeka muttered, staring at the ceiling. "I want success fast." Ibuka still have about 500,000 naira from the land money, and he kept it safe in his bag, not knowing what to do with it. The next morning, Emeka took him to the bus park to hustle as a bus conductor. "Just for a start," Emeka said. Ibuka's voice shouted fears until it cracked. He fought with passengers, dodged insults from drivers, and ran in the hot sun. At the end of the day, his share of the money was small, barely enough to buy food. Days turned into weeks. He carried loads at the market, washed cars for strangers, even hawked pure water at night. He returned exhausted, his clothes dusty, his pockets nearly empty. Sometimes he thought of the farm in Okrima village. At least there he had food, even if it was a little. But whenever he remembered Chike's sacrifice, selling part of the land for him, he clenched his teeth. "I cannot go back empty-handed," he whispered to himself one night. "I must succeed." One afternoon, While hawking cold sachet water in traffic, Ibuka noticed two men arguing near a half-built house. He stopped to listen. The taller man shouted, "This land is mine. I bought it from Mr. Ade." The shorter one replied angrily, "You are lying. I paid for this land last year." Ibuka stood quietly, but something stirred in him. After a while, he approached a mason nearby. "What's happening?" he asked. The mason spat on the ground. "Land wahala. Everyday story in this city. Too many people fighting over property." Ibuka's eye lit up. Land, property, business. The next week, he followed Emeka to a friend's office where they drafted land papers. Ibuka asked questions, listened carefully, and soon realized there was big money in buying and reselling land. At first, he only acted as a middleman, connecting buyers and sellers for a small cut. He used his sharp tongue to convince people. His village innocence replaced by city cunning. Slowly, he began to earn more than he ever had as a bus conductor. One day, Ibuka closed a deal that changed everything. He linked a businessman from Lagos to a plot of land in Okrima city outskirts. The businessman paid handsomely, and Ibuka's commission was more than anything he had ever held in his hands. When he touched the thick bundle of naira notes, his heart raced. He could finally breathe. That night, he told Emeka, "This is it. This is my way. Real estate. I will focus here. I will also add the money I have before." Within months, Ibuka grew bolder. He dressed better, spoke with confidence, and moved with people who already had influence. He stopped spreading his mat on the floor. He rented a room of his own, then later upgraded to a self-contained apartment. His clothes changed from faded trousers to neatly ironed shirts. Soon, he bought a second-hand car. The boy who once hawked pure water was now seen driving around the city, laughing with men who carried gold chains and spoke loudly about money. "Ibuka, you don't dey shine oo," Emeka said one evening when Ibuka drove by to pick him up. Ibuka laughed proudly. "My brother, this is just the beginning. The city is sweet if you know how to play the game." They went to a popular lounge that night. Emeka ordered drinks without looking at the price. He sprayed money on dancers. He laughed louder than anyone else in the room. People began to notice him, and some even whispered, "That young man is rising fast. His name is Ibuka. He deals in land and property." Ibuka loved the sound of it. He loved the respect, the greetings, the way people wanted to sit near him. Soon, he joined a circle of flashy young men who wore designer shirts, gold watches, and always talked about the next deal. They became his new family, sharing his success and feeding his pride. Back in Okrima village, Chik worked from dawn to dusk on the remaining land. He bent over cassava ridges, carried baskets of yam, and fetched water for irrigation. His clothes were torn, his palms calloused, but he did not complain. Neighbors often shook their heads when they saw him. "Chike is wasting," they said. "His younger brother is already making money in the city, but he's still here farming." Chike ignored them. At night, when he sat alone under the stars, he prayed, "God, bless Ibuka wherever he is. Let his dreams not fail. Even if I remain here, let him succeed." At first, Ibuka called often. "Brother," he would say over the phone, "things are moving. Just give me time. Soon I will come for you." Chike would smile. "Take your time, Ibuka. Just don't forget home." But as months passed, the calls reduced. When Chike called, Ibuka sometimes picked, sometimes didn't. One evening, Chike finally reached him. "Ibuka, how are you?" Chike asked warmly. "I'm fine," Ibuka replied quickly, his voice distracted. In the background, loud music played and people laughed. "You sound busy," Chike said softly. "I just wanted to hear your voice." Yes, I'm busy. We'll talk later." The line went dead. Chike stared at the phone, his chest heavy. One night in the city, Ibuka's new friends gathered at a bar. They were drinking and bragging about their latest deals. "Ibuka, you're making money now," one of them, Tunde, said. "But You still send small change at that village? Ibuka frowned. It's my brother. He sacrificed everything for me. Tunde laughed loudly. My guy, forget that story. Village life is poverty. This city is your life now. If you tie yourself to that village, you will not grow big. Another friend nodded. See, Ibuka, enjoy your life. Flash your car, buy land, chase money. Don't let anybody hold you down, not even family. Ibuka drank silently, but their words sank deep. Weeks later, Chike sent a message. We need money to repair the roof. Rain is leaking inside. Ibuka saw the message but didn't reply immediately. Later that night, he showed it to Tunde. See, she's disturbing me again, Ibuka said. Tunde smiled. Disturbing? My guy, you are enjoying life here. Why should you keep fixing village roofs? Let him handle himself. Ibuka hesitated, then slowly nodded. Maybe you are right. Maybe I need to focus on myself first. That night, for the first time, he began to see Chike not as the brother who sacrificed everything for him, but as a weight dragging him backward. The rainy season came early to Okrima village. Heavy clouds gathered over the farmland, pouring down sheets of water that turned the path into mud and flooded the small compound where Chike lived. Inside his modest cement house, water leaked through holes in the rusted zinc roof, dripping steadily into buckets he had placed in every corner. Chike sat on a wooden stool, watching the drops fall. His clothes were wet, his shoes damp, but his heart was heavier than the rain outside. He had not heard from Ibuka in weeks. That evening, Chike lit a lantern, sat at the small wooden table and pulled out a sheet of lined paper. His handwriting was rough but careful as he began. Dear Ibuka, I hope this letter finds you well. The roof of our house is leaking badly. Each time it rains, water enters everywhere. I cannot repair it alone. Please, if you can send even a little money, it will help. May God bless you as you remember us here, your brother Chike. He folded the letter neatly and walked to the small post office in the village the next morning. The postmaster stamped it and promised it would reach the city. Days turned into weeks, then months, no reply came. One evening, as he sat outside, neighbor Mama Ifoma approached. Chike, have you heard from Ibuka? He asked. Not yet, Chike replied softly. She shook her head. That boy is enjoying himself in the city. Don't expect too much. City changes people. Chike smiled faintly, though his chest tightened. He will not forget me, he is my brother. But inside, doubt had begun to grow. Meanwhile, in Okrima city, Ibuka was living a very different life. His small real estate hustle had expanded. He wore fine clothes, drove a sleek car, and spent nights at clubs surrounded by friends. One afternoon, his phone buzzed with a message from Chike. Brother, please, remember the roof. We are suffering whenever rain falls. Ibuka frowned, tossing the phone on his glass table. Tunde, his flashy friend, noticed. What's that? Tunde asked, sipping his drink. My brother again, Ibuka muttered. Always asking for money. Roof this, farm that. Doesn't he know I'm busy? Tunde laughed. Forget him. You are in the city now. Don't waste your time fixing village roofs. Focus on yourself. Ibuka nodded slowly. You are right. I cannot be sending every kobo back. Let him manage. And with that, he ignored the message. But ignoring the message was not enough. One day, Ibuka met a government officer at a land registration office. They were discussing a new property deal when the officer casually mentioned that many lands in village had not been formally registered. Ibuka's eyes perked up. You mean if a land is not registered, someone else can? He asked. The officer shrugged. If the right documents are presented, yes. It happens all the time. That's how serious business is done. Ibuka's mind raced. The land in Okrima village, the land my brother is still farming. That evening, he sat with Tunde and explained his plan. My father left land in the village. My brother is the one managing it, but it is not registered. If I can register it in my name here in the city, then it becomes legally mine. Tunde grinned. My guy, that is sharp thinking, oh. Do it fast before he wakes up. And so, Ibuka began the process. He bribed one or two officers, signed papers, and within weeks, the land that Chike sweated on every day was officially registered in Ibuka's name. When he held the certificate in his hand, he smiled proudly. This is power, he whispered. Now everything belongs to me. Back in the village, Chike had no idea what his brother had done. He continued farming, continued praying, and continued waiting for news from the city. But the villagers began to whisper. At the market, two men stood by the yam store. Have you heard? One asked. That Ibuka is now a big man in Okrima city. He is buying land, driving cars, enjoying life. The other man chuckled. And his brother Chike, still here, digging cassava like a servant. Foolish boy, imagine selling land for his younger brother, only to be abandoned. Their laughter carried across the market, and though Chike pretended not to hear, the words pierced him. At night, sitting alone, he thought, is it true? Has Ibuka forgotten me? But he shook his head firmly. No, he's just busy. He will remember. It didn't take long for the mockery to reach his doorstep. One afternoon, Odogu, a loud villager known for his sharp tongue, passed by Chike's farm. Ah, Chike, he shouted. Still farming under the sun? Your brother is eating chicken in the city while you are here eating cassava. You tried though. You sacrificed for him, but see how he left him. Chike wiped sweat from his forehead, forcing a smile. Thank you, Odogu. God sees everything. But Odogu laughed loudly and walked away, shaking his head. Soon, others joined. Children sang mocking songs. Chike the farmer, brother in the city. One is suffering, the other is shining. Each word was like a knife to his heart. One evening, as thunder rumbled and rain poured into his leaking house, Chike sat in darkness. The bucket overflowed, the floor flooded, and the cold wind cut through his clothes. He placed his head in his hands and wept quietly. Ibuka, my brother, he whispered. How could you forget me? Did I not give everything for you? But no matter how much he cried, no answer came. The next day, he went to the post office again, writing another letter. Dear Ibuka, it has been long since I heard from you. I'm happy that you are doing well in the city, but things here are hard. The land is not producing much and the house is breaking. Please, even a little help will go a long way. Your brother Chike. Weeks passed, no reply. Instead, rumors spread that Ibuka had registered the land in his name. Did you hear? Mami Farmer whispered to another woman. That land Chike is farming, Ibuka has claimed it officially in the city. What? The other gasped. So Chike is farming land that no longer belongs to him? Yes, that's what I heard though. And Ibuka is planning to sell it soon. When the news reached Chike, he felt the ground shift beneath his feet. He rushed to Elder Ikena. Elder, is it true? Has my brother registered the land? Elder Ikena sighed deeply. My son, I have seen the papers. It is true. The land is now in Ibuka's name. Chike staggered, holding his chest. But it was our father's land. How could he do this to me? The elder placed a hand on his shoulder. I am sorry, my son. Sometimes even blood betrays. But remember, God is not blind. The villagers expected Chike to fight. They waited for him to drag Ibuka to court, to shout in the market, to curse him publicly. But Chike did none of those things. Instead, he continued working quietly on the land, even though he knew it no longer belonged to him. Why are you still farming here? Mami Farmer asked one day. Everyone knows Ibuka has taken it. Chike looked at her calmly. Because this is where my father's sweat still lives. If Ibuka wants to take it, let him take it. I will not fight my own blood. God will fight for me. His words spread through the village, and people shook their heads. Some called him foolish. Others called him patient. But deep inside, Chike Chike's heart was broken beyond repair. At night, he lay on his mat, staring at the ceiling, whispering to himself, destiny would turn one day. It must turn. And with that silent hope, he endured the betrayal. The story of the two brothers was already spreading across Okrema city. On one side was Ibuka, the young man who came from a small village with nothing but dreams, now flashing cars, drinking champagne, and building his name in the property world. On the other side was Chike, the elder brother, who had once sacrificed everything and was now quietly stepping into the same city, unnoticed, unknown, carrying nothing but hope and patience. By this time, Ibuka had become a force. His real estate hustle grew into a company. He registered a business name, Golden Path Properties, and began to buy and sell land aggressively. He wasn't always clean about it. Sometimes he sold the same land to two buyers. Sometimes he bribed land officers to change documents. Sometimes he used thugs to chase poor families away from land so he could sell it. But money was flowing, and Ibuka was living the life he always dreamed of. One evening, as he sat with his friends, Tunde, in a luxurious lounge, Ibuka raised his glass. To success, he shouted. Tunde clinked his glass with his. To success, my guy. You are a rising star. Soon, even the politicians will know your name. Ibuka grinned. They already do. Next week, I'm meeting one honorable about a big land project. Once I secure that, nobody in this city can talk to me anyhow. He leaned back in his chair, his golden watch shining under the light. The boy who once hawked pure water was now feared and respected. But with the success came arrogance. Ibuka no longer picked calls from old friends unless they had money to offer. He stopped answering Chike completely. When villagers called to remind him of his brother, he laughed it off. One day, he told Tunde, "Yeah, my brother is too local. Always talking about farming and patience. He doesn't understand city life. If he wants to remain a poor villager, let him. I cannot carry dead weight." Tunde smiled. "You're right. Forget him. This is your time. Shine your shine." And Ibuka believed it. He walked into offices with pride, spoke to elders as if they were children, and treated business partners like servants. Many began to fear him, but many also began to pray for his downfall. Meanwhile, in Okrema village, Chike was struggling more than ever. The farmland was producing less, and the villagers' mockery was increasing. One evening, after a long day on the farm, Chike sat on the bench outside his house, staring at the road. "I cannot stay here forever," he whispered to himself. "If my brother can go to the city, then I too can go. Not to chase wealth, but to find something better." The next week, with the little money he had saved from selling cassava, Chike packed a small bag. He locked the house, handed the key to Elder Ikena, and boarded a bus to Okrema city. Unlike Ibuka, he didn't arrive with noise or pride. He arrived quietly, like a man who knew his journey would be long and slow. At first, city life was hard for Chike. He slept on the floor of a church where the pastor allowed him to stay. During the day, he looked for jobs. He worked as a cleaner in a small office. He carried cement for builders at construction sites. He even washed plates in a roadside canteen. But no matter how small the work was, he did it with discipline. He woke up early, prayed, and never complained. One afternoon, while carrying cement at a construction site, an older man noticed him. The man was tall, with grey hair and kind eyes. He wore a simple shirt, but carried himself with authority. "Young man," the man said, "I've been watching you. You work harder than the others, and you don't cut corners. What is your name?" "My name is Chike, sir," he replied, bowing slightly. "I am Mr. Lawson," the man said. "I own this site. Come and see me tomorrow in my office." The next day, Chike went to the office. It was a modest building, not as flashy as Ibuka's, but well organized. Mr. Lawson offered him a seat. "Chike, tell me your story." Chike spoke honestly. He told him about his parents, the land, the sacrifice for his younger brother, and the struggles he faced. Mr. Lawson listened carefully, nodding. "You remind me of myself when I was younger. Life tested me too, but I learned that patience and discipline can build more than speed and greed." Chike looked up. his eyes shining with respect. Sir, I'm ready to learn. I don't have much, but I have my hands and my honesty. Mr. Lawson smiled. That is enough from today. You will work with me, not as a laborer, but as an assistant. I will teach you how business is done. Chike bowed deeply. Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. Working under Mr. Lawson changed Chike's life. Each day, he learned something new: how to manage workers, how to treat clients with respect, how to negotiate without lying, and how to build trust. Chike, Mr. Lawson said one afternoon, money is good, but character is better. Many men rise fast and fall faster, but the man who rises with integrity will stand longer. Chike nodded, writing the words in his heart. Slowly, he began to earn a small but steady salary. He rented a tiny room in the city, bought a few clothes, and sent small offerings back to the village. He was not rich, but he was stable, and for the first time in years, he felt hope growing again. While Chike was learning patience and discipline, Ibuka was climbing higher with pride and shortcuts. He built a big office for Golden Path Properties, decorated with glass doors and shiny tiles. He drove a new jeep and hired bodyguards. But whispers followed him. Some said he cheated clients. Some said he stole land from widows. Some said he bribed his way into contracts. One day, he passed by a street where Chike was working with Mr. Lawson. Ibuka was in his jeep, music blasting, girls laughing in the backseat. He slowed down, looked out, and saw his brother. Chike, he said with surprise. Chike smiled warmly. Ibuka, my brother. But Ibuka only smiled. You're still moving with old men? This is the city, brother. If you don't sharpen up, you will remain a nobody. Then he drove off, leaving dust behind. Mr. Lawson looked at Chike quietly. That was your brother? Yes, sir, Chike said softly, his smile fading. Mr. Lawson placed a hand on his shoulder. Don't envy him. Flash doesn't last. Keep walking your path. Chike nodded. Yes, sir. Months passed. Ibuka grew more powerful but also more careless. He entered shady deals with politicians, promising land that wasn't his to sell. He cheated friends, ignored warnings, and mocked those who tried to advise him. Chike, meanwhile, grew steadily. Mr. Lawson trusted him with more responsibilities. He managed small contracts, handled clients, and proved himself again and again. One evening, after a long day, Mr. Lawson called him into the office. Chike, he said, you have been faithful. You remind me of the son I never had. From now on, you will not only work for me, you will work with me. I want you to become my partner. Chike gasped. Sir, I don't deserve this. You deserve it, Mr. Lawson replied firmly. Because you have what many lack: patience, honesty, and discipline. Tears filled Chike's eyes. Thank you, sir. I will not fail you. And as he walked home that night, he whispered to himself, this is the turning point. My story is changing. The city that once lifted Ibuka up began to slowly turn against him. It did not happen suddenly like a thunder strike. It began as whispers, then rumors, then small cracks in the empire he had built with pride and shortcuts. One Monday morning, Ibuka entered his glass-walled office at Golden Path Properties with his usual arrogance. He wore a white suit, gold wristwatch, and shoes that shone like mirrors. His staff stood quietly to greet him. Good morning, sir. Ibuka nodded casually and walked into his office. But that morning, instead of piles of money or new deals waiting, there were letters, complaints from clients. One letter read, the land you sold us is already owned by another family. We demand our money back immediately or we'll take legal action. Another letter said, you promised that the land in Okrima South had no dispute. Now we are fighting with thugs every day. We'll not let this go. Ibuka crushed the letters in his hands and threw them aside. Nonsense, he muttered. Let them shout. They will soon get tired. But deep inside, unease began to creep into his heart. That week, Ibuka called his partners for a meeting. They were men he trusted or thought he trusted. Men who had once cheered his rise. Gentlemen, he said, forcing a smile. Don't worry about the small complaint. We have new deals coming. The Honorable from Lagos has promised to bring us investors. We'll make even more money. But the men exchanged glances. Finally, one of them, Mr. Felix, spoke. Ibuka, let us be honest. People are talking about you everywhere. Too many complaints, too many bad deals. Government is watching. We don't want to be dragged down with you. Another partner added, from today, we cannot continue business together. We are withdrawing. Ibuka slammed his hand on the table. What nonsense is this? After all I've done for you, you think you can leave me now? Or they stood up calmly, gathered their files and walked out. That day, Ibuka realized he was standing alone. Weeks later, men in black suits visited his office. They introduced themselves as officials from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Mr. Ibuka, one of them said sternly, we are investigating reports of fraudulent land sales under Golden Park Properties. You will need to provide documents for the last 5 years. Ibuka laughed nervously. This must be a mistake. I run a clean business. The officer's face remained hard. We will find out. You have 7 days. When they left, sweat dripped down his forehead. He called Tunde immediately. My guy, EFCC people just came to my office. What should I do? But Tunde's voice was cold. That's serious so, but see Ibuka, cannot be involved. My name must not enter this matter. Good luck. The line went dead. That evening, Ibuka tried calling other friends. Some did not pick, some answered with excuses. Bro, I'm not in town. Sorry, I can't talk now. Let's catch up later. He went to the lounge where he once bought drinks for everyone. The moment he entered, the music seemed to fade. People who once rushed to greet him now turned their faces away. The waiter, who used to call him Chairman, said quietly, Sir, please, management said we cannot open credit for you again. Ibuka clenched his fist. Credit? Did I ever drink here on credit? Or he walked out, his chest burning. The streets that once bowed to him now treated him like a stranger. The following week, EFCC froze his bank account. Properties were locked, cars were seized. When he tried to withdraw money, the cashier shook her head. Sorry, sir, your account is under investigation. He shouted, argued, even threatened, but nothing changed. Within days, the empire he had built crumbled like a sandcastle under rain. The workers in his office stopped coming. The secretary resigned. Even his driver abandoned the car and left the keys on the table. Ibuka sat alone in the big office, staring at the empty chairs. The silence was louder than any music. That night, he drove to Tunde's house hoping for comfort. Tunde, please, I need help. Just small money to settle some things until this investigation ends. But Tunde shook his head. Ibuka, I told you before, I cannot involve myself. I have my own issues. You too, Ibuka whispered, his voice cracking. After all the drinks, all the money I spent on you. Tunde looked away. That was then. This is now. Good night. The door closed in his face. Ibuka staggered back to his car, his eyes burning with tears. While Ibuka's world collapsed quietly, Chike's life was moving in the opposite direction. Under the mentorship of Mr. Lonsin, he had grown steadily in business. He now handled contracts on his own, supervised workers, and even saved enough to buy a small plot of land, not flashy but legal and clean. One evening, Mr. Lonsin said, Chike, I am proud of you, boy. You are building with patience. Many young men rush and fall, but you are taking steady steps. This is how real success is built. Chike bowed his head. Thank you, sir. I only pray to keep growing. At night, when he heard whispers about Ibuka's troubles, he said nothing. He did not rejoice, did not mock. He only shook his head quietly. He's still my brother, he whispered to himself. Destiny has its way. I will not laugh at his pain. Back in his small rented apartment, far from the big house he once lived in, Ibuka sat in darkness. The generator had stopped because he could not afford fuel. His phone lay silent, no calls, no messages. He picked it up and scrolled through his contacts. Names filled the screen, but none he could call. Nobody would answer. He thought of Chike, but pride held him back. How could he call the brother he once mocked? How could he admit failure? He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling, tears rolling down his cheeks. From king of the city, he had become a forgotten man. The winds of destiny were beginning to change in Okrema City. For years, Ibuka's name had filled the street with noise, but now it was fading into whispers of scandal and failure. On the other side, a new name was beginning to rise, Chike, the man who had walked into the city quietly without noise, without flash, but with discipline and patience. It began with a simple opportunity. Mr. Lawson, Chike's mentor, had worked with the city government for many years. One afternoon, he called Chike into his office. Chike, he said with a smile, the Ministry of Housing is looking for a reliable contractor for a new housing project in Okrema South. They asked me to recommend someone. I told them about you. Chike froze. Me? Sir, I'm not ready for something that big. Mr. Lawson leaned forward. You are more than ready. You have worked hard. You have proven yourself and you have never failed me. This is your time. Chike swallowed hard. Sir, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Mr. Lawson said firmly. Opportunities do not knock twice. Take this and show them the kind of man you are. With trembling hands, Chike accepted. The project was massive, dozens of housing units for civil servants. It required manpower, materials and management. But Chike threw himself into the work with discipline. He hired workers, supervised every detail and refused to cut corners. Where others used cheap materials to steal money, Chike insisted on quality. Where others lied about progress, Chike told the truth. Months later, when the housing units were completed, government officials came for inspection. One of them, a commissioner, turned to Mr. Lawson and said, This is one of the best projects we have seen in years. Who handled it? Mr. Lawson smiled and pointed at Chike. He did. The commissioner walked up to Chike and shook his hand. Young man, your name will go far in this city. From today, you are not just another contractor. You are a man of integrity. Expect more work from us. News spread quickly. Chike, the man of integrity. People called him. His name appeared in local newspapers. His pictures was printed beside the new housing project. In the market, people pointed at his photo. That is the brother of Ibuka, the flashy one. But this one, he is different. He is humble. He is honest. For the first time, Chike's name carried weight in Okrema City. He rented a bigger office. Not flashy, but respectable. He hired staff, treated them well, and paid them on time. His small one-room apartment gave way to a modest two-bedroom flat. But even as he rose, he remained humble. Every Sunday he went to church. Every week he visited Mr. Lawson to thank him. And whenever villagers called, he answered warmly, never forgetting where he came from. Meanwhile, Ibuka sat in his small apartment, the curtains drawn, the silence heavy. His phone buzzed one evening with a message. Have you heard? Your brother Chike just finished a big government project. His name is everywhere. They say he is the new star in Okrema City. Ibuka stared at the screen, his heart pounding. My brother Chike, he whispered. He paced the room, anger and shame fighting inside him. The brother he once mocked as too local was now the man the city celebrated. For days, he could not sleep. His pride burned, but so did his desperation. He had no money, no friends, no influence left. And now, only one thought filled his mind. I must reconnect with Chike. One afternoon, Ibuka swallowed his pride and made his way to Chike's new office. He wore an old suit. The once bright fabric now faded. When he entered the office, staff looked at him curiously. Some recognized him as the fallen real estate man. Please, I want to see Mr. Chike, Ibuka said quietly. When Chike came out of his office and saw him, his eyes widened. Ibuka, my brother. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then, Chike asked his staff to give him privacy. They went into his office, just the two of them. Chike gestured to a chair. Sit, Ibuka. Ibuka sat slowly, his eyes avoiding his brother's. For a long time, neither spoke. Then, Ibuka cleared his throat. Chike, I came to see you. I know it has been long, too long. Chike folded his arms. Yes, very long. Ibuka forced a smile. But you know, city life is not easy. Things happened. Mistakes were made. I wanted to call, but I didn't know how. Chike's voice was calm but sharp. You didn't know how? You knew how to register the land in your name. You knew how to ignore my letters. You knew how to forget the brother who gave up everything for you. But you didn't know how to call? Ibuka flinched. Chike, please, don't talk like that. I came because I need you now. Things are hard. Friends have turned against me. The government is after me. I have nothing left. He leaned forward, his eyes desperate. But you, God has lifted you. You are the one shining now. Help me, brother. Let us start again together. Chike looked at him for a long time. His face carried no anger, only deep sadness. Ibuka, he said softly. When I sold the land for you, I had nothing left. I trusted you with everything. I believed you would remember me, but you betrayed me. You abandoned me. You even stole from me. Do you know how many nights I cried? Do you know how the villagers mocked me? Tears filled Ibuka's eyes. I was foolish. I let pride consume me. But please, Chike, forgive me. We can rebuild together. Chike shook his head slowly. Forgiveness I can give, but trust, that is gone. You are my brother, yes. But I will not let you use me. I will not let you drag me down. I will not seek revenge. I will not fight you. I will leave you to karma, to God, to destiny. He stood up, his voice steady. I will help others. I will lift people. But you, Ibuka, you must face the result of your choices. Not because I hate you, but because you must learn. Ibuka broke down, his face in his hand. Chike, please. But Chike turned away. He walked to the window, looking out at the city. The same city that had broken one brother and lifted the other. Without looking back, he said quietly, Goodbye, Ibuka. The sun rose over Okrema City with its usual noise. Buses honking, traders shouting, music blasting from small shops. But for Ibuka, the city no longer felt like home. It felt like a stranger that had swallowed him and spat him out. Ibuka tried to live quietly after his failed attempt to return to Chike's life. But the past refused to let go. The EFCC case grew louder, newspapers printed stories. Golden Path Properties under investigation for fraudulent deals. Ibuka, once a rising star, now facing multiple charges. Clients he had cheated came forward demanding justice. People he once oppressed found boldness to speak. One morning, he walked to the market to buy food. As he moved between stores, whispers followed him. That's him, that's Ibuka. See how he has fallen, from jeep to walking like us. God has caught him. Betrayal never lasts. Some even laughed openly. A young man shouted, Chairman, where is your convoy? Where are your girls? Where is your money? Laughter erupted around him. Ibuka lowered his head and walked faster, shame burning his skin. For the first time in his life, he knew what it meant to be truly disgraced. While Ibuka sank, Chike rose higher. The housing project he completed opened more doors. He was awarded another government contract, then another. But what made him different was not the money, it was his name. People trusted him. They called him Chike the Honest, Chike the man of integrity. One afternoon, the governor of Okrema State invited him to a ceremony. Chike stood on the stage, simple in his suit, as the governor placed a medal of honor around his neck. Today, the governor declared, we honor a man who has shown that success can be built with honesty. Let young men and women learn from him. Let Okrema City learn from him. This is the kind of citizen we want. The crowd clapped and cheered. Some shouted his name. Cameras flashed. Chike smiled humbly, raising his hand in thanks. In that moment, remembered his parents, his sacrifices, and even the night he cried alone in the leaking house. His heart whispered, it was worth it. News of Chike's celebration spread everywhere, even Ibuka had it. He stayed in his small apartment, reading the newspaper over and over. His chest ached. His pride was gone. All he felt was emptiness. One evening, when the pain grew too heavy, he walked slowly to Chike's office. The guards recognized him but allowed him in. Chike was sitting behind his desk when the door opened. He looked up and froze. Ibuka stood there, thinner than before, his clothes worn, his eyes tired. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then Ibuka spoke, his voice breaking. Brother, I came to say I'm sorry again. Chike's eyes softened, but his face remained calm. Sit, Ibuka. Ibuka sat, his hands trembling, tears filled his eyes. I destroyed everything, he said. My friends left me. My wealth is gone. The city had turned its back on me. I have nothing left. He looked up at Chike, his voice shaking. But the worst of it all is what I did to you. The brother who gave me everything, the brother I betrayed. I don't deserve to be here, but I could not carry the guilt anymore. Forgive me, Chike. Chike was silent for a long time. His heart pounded. Memories flooded his mind. Selling the land for Ibuka, sleeping in the leaking house, crying alone, being mocked by villagers, and finally, hearing of the land theft. He stood slowly and walked to the window again. His hands clasped behind his back. His voice was quiet but firm. Ibuka, you broke me. You abandoned me when I needed you. You stole from me. You mocked me. You left me to suffer alone. I cannot forget those nights. I cannot forget those tears. Ibuka lowered his head, tears rolling down his cheeks. But, Chike continued, turning to face him. I will not hate you. Hatred will not heal me. Revenge will not give me peace. I forgive you not because you deserve it, but because I deserve to be free. He walked closer, his eyes steady. But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. We cannot go back to what we were. You must live your life and I will live mine. I will not fight you, but I will not walk with you either. Ibuka broke down completely, falling to his knees. Chike, please, even if you don't walk with me, at least pray for me. I don't know how to stand anymore. Chike placed a hand on his shoulder, his voice soft. I'll pray for you, brother. May God give you the strength to start again, not with pride, but with humility. He turned away, signaling the end of the conversation. Go now, Ibuka. The rest is between you and God. When Ibuka left the office that day, he felt both broken and lighter. He knew the road ahead would be lonely, but he also knew his brother had given him something more powerful than money, forgiveness. Chike, on the other hand, stood by his window, looking out at the city. He whispered to himself, greed and betrayal may bring temporary success, but integrity and sacrifice, they stand the test of time. And with that, the story of the brothers came full circle. One broken by betrayal, the other lifted by honesty. The story of Chike and Ibuka teaches us that greed, arrogance, and betrayal may bring quick success for a short time, but they always end in disgrace and emptiness. True greatness comes from patience, sacrifice, and integrity. Chike, who worked honestly and endured hardship, was lifted and honored in the end, while Ibuka, who chose shortcuts and pride, was abandoned. The lesson is clear. A life built on truth and discipline may rise slowly, but it will stand strong, while a life built on lies and selfishness will surely collapse. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story about the two brothers on African Stories by V. If you liked it and felt inspired with their journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories by V, and do not forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.